Hey everybody, it's Jillian. So, yeah, I wanted to find out everything about the paranormal when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I think my mom bought me a Ouija board and I played it like once or twice and then I put it away. And I think when I was like 19 or 18, I played with some friends that I was transitioning from being a young adult to an adult and living, I wasn't at home, but I was living with some friends from the school that I went to. And we were playing with our own homemade Ouija board. And yeah, we did see a little, we did talk to some spirits out there in Seven Trees, San Jose, California. But, since meeting my husband and learning about the ghost shows, and watching all the different horror movies and the paranormal videos on YouTube, it there is a connection within the Hydra with the 69 trillion intelligent microbes that your body holds within. And some of those intelligent microbes are damaged, malevolent microbes, of which then you see behaviors from people that are extremely weird, strange, and violent and intolerant. And then you have kinder microbes that are all about love and reproduction and all that. And then you have something like the Catholic Church, who specializes in exorcisms, who specializes in that whole plane with the good and evil. And so when we've trained our Hydra to react to words and spells and yeah, and concoctions, then yeah, you'll see people's bodies respond to someone casting spells or respond to specific energy frequencies. And I don't know how true or how much truth is in the movies as far as how aggressive, like The Exorcist, when her head was spinning around. I don't see people's heads spinning around, but I've seen stuff like on YouTube where someone was doing an exorcist and the person was contorting and all these different weird things. You're just like, holy shit. So I don't discount that there are some really aggressive spirits out there. I have yet to see anything like that, but I think the reason why is because, if any kind of exorcism out here in the West, it's done behind closed doors, or you don't really hear about it, or if you do hear about it, it ends up in, a homicide or something. And, so that's been more under wraps and is, it's more, I guess, popular in the movies versus real life. And so, yeah, there's definitely a connection with the fantasy, which is not really on TV and in the movies, and then in real life. And so when a person, like I'm watching my dog go through her releasing the demons, and I'm telling you, when you backyard breed your dog, okay, with so many genetic anomalies, and they're made up of so many trillions of microbes, and they have malevolent spirits in them that cause them to be okay for a certain amount of time and then go in a decline, and then whatever they pick up along the way, and then when you're trapping those things in the body, then those things fornicate, they reproduce offspring that are not necessarily friendly. Though my dog has been releasing, so I haven't seen anything malevolent come out of her. If anything, what I'm seeing is that, yes, she has this monkey on her back that you can't do anything about until she learns how to assimilate to that monkey. And so, sometimes she'll throw up stuff and it's like, holy shit, wow, that's in there. Wow, that's in there. It's some pretty crazy stuff that comes out of her system. And she still carries on. She still wants to eat. She still wants to poop. She still wants to get up and pee. She doesn't pee in her bed anymore. She gets up and gets out of bed and forces herself to get out of the bed and do that. Whereas before, it was just peeing in the bed and that was it. So that's why, I was changing my sheets all the time. But now she actually gets up out of her bed and forces herself to walk, even though it's a little bit difficult because she has to deal with this little monkey on her back, so to speak. But she has the desire to live. She wants to fucking live despite this change that is going on. Okay? And so, she's dealing with some demons inside. And when you are kind of doing what you call an exorcism, yeah, you're going to be throwing up, you're going to be diarrheaing, you're going to be having headaches, you're going to have boils and things that come to surface. I'm telling you, when humans finally realize their predisposed issues and they want to become whole again, they have to see every kind of trauma that was done to them way back when their genetic line was begun in the beginning, whenever that was. I couldn't tell you how far back your genetic line traces back. But some people can find written records, and then even before that, and then all the trauma from the surgeries, from the remedies, from the wars, and from, PTSD from accidents, and who knows what people experienced, what each generation has experienced, and then what you've inherited from your genetic line and what your kids are going to inherit down the road or right now. And so, yeah, she is experiencing everything that she ever inherited, ever picked up along the way, whatever trauma that was done to her in the veterinary system, okay, or with her prior owners, and then what her parents had to deal with prior to her, and what her parents' parents had to deal with prior to her. And it goes down, 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 down. And so, since I like my dog's predisposition as she's kind, she's sweet, she is not violent, okay, she's fucking worth going through this. My husband said, like, if he was alone, like we were talking about, so I would have put her down a long time ago. Like, I know you don't have time to nurse her back to health. You don't. Most people don't. I mean, I was up at 3 o'clock this morning because she was a little bit active. She was active last night, and she had to throw some stuff up because her body is going through these changes, and she has like all these different parasites in her from so many years of having that shit trapped within, because that's what we have done. We have trapped so much infection within us that finally, when the climate changes and the body finally gets to release the demons, it happens different times. And you deal with it, and you keep feeding, and you keep pooping, and you keep peeing, and you keep sleeping, and sometimes you have to have the energy, and you'll have to grow, infection, or have to grow growths until those demons calm down, and you finally can have the human back or the animal back without having this monkey on their back, this demon, so to speak. And so that's what, that's where all those terms come from. Learn how to carry your own weight, the monkey on your back, release the demons. This all comes from antiquity. This comes from probably even the Middle Ages. They've done this before in experiments. That's how they know this stuff. Okay? And so, since now I'm going beyond what was told to us, I'm now seeing what would happen if you stopped getting trauma done to you by the medical holistic system. Oh shit, we have to pay back. We have to pay the fucking piper. We got to pay back and deal with the trauma that was. We have to basically deal with the punishment of committing violence against our bodies under the knife, going to the medical holistic system for whatever ails us, taking the shortcuts. So now, with all those shortcuts that we took that gave us a great life, now we have to deal with the long cut. Now we have to deal with repercussions. And it wasn't her fault. She wasn't the one that decided to get the surgery. She wasn't the one that decided to come into. Somebody backyard bred her, and then when they saw a tumor, they went and cut into her and butchered her, and then now she's paying the fucking price for it. And so am I, because I have to now finally do the long cut, not the shortcuts. Because look at this. If let's say she does get a surgery. Let's just pretend she does. Okay, it's hypothetical. And let's say she survives it. Okay, great, everything's great, and I'm keep feeding her. Maybe she goes, eats her adult food and everything, and then one day, a new frequency that's even more aggressive comes up, and that surgery, that thing that was cut out, grows back again. And then we have to start the whole process all over again, where she loses hella weight, and she has weird behaviors, and this thing is growing and growing and growing and growing. And it's like, if you don't learn your lesson, you will keep repeating the same outcome until you learn your fucking lesson. And that's like karma in a lot of ways. That's like I don't say reincarnation, but in the same situation until you learn. Just like Groundhog Day. Right now, I'm experiencing Groundhog Day with my dog. Until she learns how to carry her own weight, until the owner doesn't do a shortcut on her. Because I want her to live a very long life. And that means that if she's going to live a very long life, then she has to pay the piper for all the shortcuts. She has to deal with everything that was done to her that was against natural law. And that's Groundhog Day. And remember when Bill Murray was going through the same day, he knew what to expect. And that's the thing. You keep cutting something out and you want to continue to live, it'll keep coming back again until you finally stop cutting shit out. Until you stop using a remedy against something. Until you stop using the medical holistic system. Your kids will have the same outcome. That's the thing. Family units are dealing with Groundhog Day. Because then you get two people with anomalies, with major anomalies in their genetic line. And now you have children with anomalies that will re-experience what the parents went through at some point, and even have more exotic disease on top of that because the environment's different, and they will deal with a Groundhog Day. And so then they can't deal with the exotic diseases they've held or whatever, and so then either they cut it out or do something else, and then they go and procreate and have another kid who's going to do another Groundhog Day and suffer the same outcome as the parents. And so right now, my dog's done with Groundhog Day until we can assimilate and then promise the body we will never do any more trauma to it. And so that's like an exorcism. When you finally release the fucking demons, when you finally release the trauma, the damage in the genetic lines. And so, yeah, the Catholic Church understands this. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. That's why you see so many of those reliefs and those statues that look kind of demonic, because, yeah, they are in trapping demons in people's bodies, so then they turn out to be violent people or anxiety-ridden or depressed, and then want to go and procreate because they can't handle evolution, and they have another baby to carry on the genetic line. And they know that there is evil out there because people have trapped damaged stuff in their body. And then they know if you want to release the demons, you got to throw up, you got to pee, you got to poo, you got to, diarrhea. I don't know if your head will spin, like it did on The Exorcist. That's a little bit of an embellishment. But you're going to have to deal with the demons. You're going to have to feel and sit with the pain. Sit with that boil. Nurse that boil. Pet it. With my dog's little cyst, I'm putting a little olive oil and some salt on it and just massaging it, because what else are you going to do? You can't cut it out. You have to keep feeding the host. If you starve the host, you might starve the cyst, but you kill the host too. So you have to feed both of them. You have no choice, or else you're going to repeat the same thing, and maybe the dog can't survive another life that didn't learn its lesson. And then there goes that genetic line. It's done with right over there. I'm not willing to do that. But people are willing to die for their beliefs. But I'm not willing to my dog die for somebody else's belief. And so, exorcisms. Exorcisms are the body releasing damaged cells, and they are intelligent. Some are extremely malevolent and cause a person to act in ways that are uncharacteristic. And that's why you see people who with dementia, they act really evil to their caregiver. Okay? Because now they're going through this decline, and there's some damaged cells that the person wasn't ready to deal with, but they kept getting their cures. But as you decline, all the layers of strata of all the emotions, the hormones, right? Because the evilness is like your fight or flight or your way to protect yourself. And so you have to come off scary, right? To protect yourself against danger. Well, sometimes that is the predominant gene that comes up because you have released all the good genes, and now you're down to your prototype, down to your fight or flight, down to your predatory prey, very basic level instinct. And that's why people with dementia and or people who are declining become extremely mean and intolerant. And that's a lot of people that I deal with that don't understand the JJ world, is that they are declining to such an extent they come off mean, intolerant, and bullyish. And I'm saying, hey, it doesn't have to be that way, but they can't handle another thought process. And so you will throw up, you will diarrhea, and you'll have interesting behaviors, to say the least. And my dog has been exhibiting some very interesting behaviors. Like, Sugar's still there because she still kisses me on the nose, but she's also kind of like in a zombie state, sort of, so to speak. She'll wander around a little bit, get caught up in corners, and then have to learn how to pivot on her good leg, because the other, where her cyst is, she has to learn how to deal with that and compensate for that. And she's doing okay, but every couple hours she eats and she poops, and well, not so much poops, she poops every day, and drinks and eats and sleeps, and it's like a puppy schedule, okay? And so the reason why the Catholic Church specializes in exorcisms, because they developed a closed system, and then the spirits are trying to escape, but they get trapped into the host, and the host has to fight the battle within until the host learns how to release the demons and assimilate. And it's not fucking pretty. That's why I'm saying, if you guys have the chance to be at home and you don't have too many demands put on you, release the demons now. It's a perfect time. You can have things delivered to you. You don't have to go out there in the world. It's like you have home entertainment, you have video games, you have, inexpensive rents, I guess, if you can scale down your lifestyle. And it's time to release the demons. Those out there that don't understand, they'll be out there and they'll supernova, and that's fine. That's their choice. But some of you have a choice to stay at home and deal with the pain. And so evil is when you cut out your life and you force someone to deal with the damaged spirits in their body. You stop them from releasing the demons. And so, so when you give your kids anti-inflammatories and surgeries, you are essentially torturing your children and your loved ones. Because in this environment, the demons are going to become stronger and more aggressive. And that is what's going on. And that's why that poor NFL player had to deal with some stuff. That's why all these people who are dying suddenly, or, dealing with a cancer disease or chronic illness prematurely, earlier than they would have anticipated, because they know it's in their genetic line. It's because they've been doing the surgeries and the anti-inflammatories, and in climate change, all that stuff is going to be accelerated. And so it is like an exorcism. I mean, that's all true. The paranormal is the hydra that are extremely influential, and they jockey for position inside the host. And sometimes they can be very extreme and cause multiple personalities where they're not even aware of each other. I mean, you could be an observer and are aware of all the different personalities of somebody, but the person is not aware that they have multiple personalities until they are told this, or until they sort of experience. I don't know how an MPD person feels, or what they are aware, how much they are aware of the personalities that come out relative to the triggers in their environment. And so, obviously, some know that they are aware they are MPD, and others do not. They black out, okay? Because the splitting of the brain from so much trauma has caused them to be unaware of other entities that are taking over the host. And so, as long as I see some, glimpse of Sugar, and then she's still fighting the demons within, I will keep feeding her, keep helping her poop, making sure she gets out to pee, and letting her walk around and do stuff. And even if she's, toddling around and kind of in a zombie state and getting stuck in areas, but I've pretty much baby-proofed the house. And I have, blockages on the stairwells, and I am there with her 24/7 until she can kick this. And that's right now going to be my life until she is able to release that demon. And it's a pretty hard ass demon. When I feel her cyst, it's like hard, like bone. It's crazy. And some of you have that situation. I mean, I don't know how many surgeries she underwent, but that's a pretty hard fucking cyst that she has. It's very hard. And so, yeah, I mean, some of you have that, and you're going to have to go, I mean, some of you have it on different parts of your body that you can kind of cover. Others of you have it in your head. Others of you have it in different places, and that's what, climate change is, and diversity is. Some of us who actually want to become whole again will have to pay back all the trauma in our genetic line. And we're going to look kind of crazy. some of you will look kind of crazy out there with lumps and bumps and things sticking out here and there, and people are like, what the hell? You should get that cut off. No, because it'll grow back again even stronger. And so you have to deal with the lumps and the bumps and the things until you can assimilate. And that's what the Catholic Church means by the demons in the body. And so, yeah, people are going to have to think very long and hard how they're going to assimilate to this society and stay alive and deal with the changes that are going on, and also pay back the piper for all the trauma they did prior to climate change and whatever else lurks in their genetic line. And so I'm lucky that I didn't undergo any kind of crazy surgeries. I am so lucky that I hardly had any money for health insurance. That the only time I really went to the hospital was when I was a kid, because I had pneumonia when I first came to America. And then when I had that UTI and used an antibiotic that I was allergic to, and they just had to do an IV in me to dilute all the white blood cells. That was the extent of my hospital stays. And then when I sprained my ankle, and I had to get an x-ray, re-sprained it in 2010, and wear a brace, that was it. That was the only thing that I've ever done to myself. The worst thing that I've done to myself was take the Claritins and the NyQuils and the Dayquils and the Theraflus and the herbs and the extracts and the tinctures and all that. That was probably the worst thing I've done to myself. And so I had to pay back all that, and all that shit came out. But I definitely had that demon grab a hold of me last summer. And so that was my punishment for whatever in my genetic line. And so some of you will have a heftier punishment than others. Some of you have been in pain your whole life. And now in climate change, it's exponential. And you are so desperate for relief. And I'm telling you, some people's genetic lines are so fraught with anomalies that it's going to be painful to release the demons. And you stop doing that now, you'll never be able to come back from that. You'll never be able to, because you're just compounded. Tracy. She's like, did you finally make her get gainful employment? That's so funny. Oh, jeez. Yeah, why she's responding to that, because I said that Sugar is learning how to carry her own weight. Like it or not, Sugar and myself are learning how to live with the demon monkey on her back until she accepts and learns how to carry her weight. The demon will continue to challenge her and force her to assimilate and not undergo any more trauma. So, yeah, and so her and I are both going to have to deal with her walking around. I have to, in essence, I took her on and I made that commitment. I mean, I didn't know that this is what I have to deal with, but since I am strong enough and I'm around 24/7, I have now committed my life to make sure that my dog can deal with the demon on her back. That she can survive this. Because anyone else, yeah, she would be dead by now. Anyone else that have her, she would not be alive. And she knows this, and I know this too. And that's what's crazy, is that knowing that if she was into someone else's hands, she wouldn't survive. Because I know how to pull out the poop. She has the same kind of sphincter situation when you release, when you express the dog's anal glands. She has the same kind of system that we have, that humans have. And you have to train that system to be open. And so she does fart. I hear when she coughs, sometimes I hear her fart. Fuck yeah, that's exactly the way it's supposed to be. And so, until she releases that demon, I'm going to help her release the demons. And I keep feeding her, release the demons, feeding her, release the demons, rest, feed her, release the demons, rest, deal with her, idiosyncrasies. And that's the extent of it until that thing leaves. And then it'll be proof that you guys can deal with your predisposed issues. And yeah, if you have lumps and bumps and you're like, oh my gosh, how do you cure it? You don't want to cure anything. You want to let it do what it has to do. Maybe do a little bit of stuff if you need to for a little bit of relief. So I will put a little bit of salt and water on it, as well as olive oil and salt. And she doesn't yelp, or she doesn't, it's not really painful. I did put her in the bathtub with salt water, but she doesn't want to sit in the bathtub. And so, I'm just gonna let it be, and I keep her comfortable and let her walk around. And And we'll just have to wait and see. And the only thing that you can do is just feed and release the demons. Feed, release the demons, and if she has to throw up, she throws up. Then she drinks water. If she drinks plenty of water, feed, release the demons, drink water. I mean, that's right now. It's a very basic lifestyle, and that's fine. We're in climate change. There's no reason we'd be out there. I don't have anyone demanding my time or my attention. My husband relatively is self-sufficient. And so this is not going to be very difficult, except that I just will lose sleep occasionally, and my priority is her. She is my first priority. I'm actually the first priority, because if I don't stay alive, then she can't. And then she's the next priority. And then my husband. Because my husband is relatively self-sufficient. And so, yeah, sometimes it has to be that way. But you have to save yourself first before you save anything. I've saved myself. So now I can work on saving my dog. Because if I don't save myself, then my dog has no fucking chance. So if I had a kid and I didn't save myself, then my kid would have no fucking chance, because they would fall into the hands of the system, and the system doesn't give a shit how you end up. They just care about how they can keep you moving, and regardless if they keep taking out organs and keep giving you things that are going to be detrimental to you down the road, they could care less as long as you keep moving for them. And at some point, you're going to have to now say, okay, system, I will still contribute, but I got to save myself first. Because how can I be a great contributor if I freaking die prematurely? Okay? So anyways, yeah, the paranormal is completely true. And so when I said like vampires and viruses, it's all the same thing. Viruses, vampires, and Hydra are all the same thing. Because guess what vampires are run by? Malevolent Hydra. When you're cannibalizing somebody. I mean, I understand proteins cannibalize other proteins based upon survival of the fittest. But when a human cannibalizes another human, literally and figuratively, then they have a lot of deadly, malevolent spirits in their body. Because life is not supposed to destroy other life unless it is dangerous or detrimental. But then who determines that? And that's the thing, is that at the micro level, Mother Nature, at the macro level, we have fucked with Mother Nature when we develop bullies in our society and develop killers in our society. We have messed with Mother Nature, and she is punishing us for messing with her to that level, to that extent. And so now the New World Order is saying, oh my God, look what we have done here. We have to go and correct the mistakes we've made. And yeah, we're all paying for it. All of us are paying for the mistakes that we have made collectively. And some will pay for it with their life. Others will have to suffer through watching people paying with their life. And suffering along the way, and there is no good outcome for those that suffer and don't support their suffering to where it lessens the suffering. People will be suffering and die, and others will suffer and live and then lessen the suffering until the system has the system it wants and needs and is built for. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say, because I'm a little bit tired. I've been up since 3. So, all right, bye.